look.
Cool.
So I love starting with, you can go even earlier than this, which, yeah, I wonder with your journey and especially being in dance, if it started earlier in this, because I normally start with people in high school. Like, I feel like high school is in teenage years are such an interesting time for being human and like more pressure on like who am I in the world and who am I going to be and what's next and all of that. So I like to hear about high school, but again, I don't your journey, especially with dance, may have started earlier than that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, my journey with dance started when I was like 3 and then
Yeah.
never ended, but I would say more
I
seriously
mean, was
picked up when
that
I was like
just
7.
that and was that just like most, a lot of parents are like, "Oh yeah, let's sign our kids up
Yep.
for dance."
At a
Like,
strip
did
mall dance center. Like it was, it was like a studio next, in between a convenience store and a chocolate store, which was random. And took ballet, jazz, and tap. And yeah, I was like 3. When I look back at videos, we were literally just running around and there was music playing. But then I started really, really taking dance when I was 7, like real tap class. So I would
God, and
say,
do you stay with it all those years? Because yeah, my oldest, I probably signed her up for a dance class probably around the same time. Yeah, she was probably 3, maybe 3 or 4, and it was a mixed class of like, yeah, ballet, tap, and was it? I guess just ballet and tap. But anyway, but yeah, they're like, it's so cute to watch, but they
it's
don't really know what they're doing.
they don't do anything, but it's so good to get them, just acclimated in the classroom around other kids. So, yeah, that's basically what I did. Like, it wasn't like this is the best school for you to go to. No, it was just like the intro. Um, but it's interesting because most dancers who are professional, I would say, started like as children and started pretty young. Because I know you were saying like high school, but high school I feel like is where you really decide, am I going to really pursue this? Because high school is where you get all the other distractions like cheerleading and sports and what school do I want to go to, and then academics, and am I going to become, like the queen of the school of academia, and am I just going to focus on the chess club or whatever it is. But I would say that dance was a constant. The hardest thing for me to continue my dance training was that the studios that I was a part of were always these like very small, owned by Black women studios that kept getting shut down because of gentrification. And so there was like,
Oh,
we kept losing our homes, our dance homes. And that was the hardest thing because we would have like some amazing studio. It was great. And then, oh, the MCI center is being built. So the people are kicking all the artists out of this building and are going to make condos. Like that happened to us like 4 times. And that was difficult,
wow.
which also really has informed
And where did
my
you grow up?
in Washington, D.C., in D.C. proper. So DC was changing so much. Because I grew up there in the 90s. I'm an 80s baby. And, but it's funny because my sister and I used to own a studio here in LA on Olympic and Fairfax, and we got kicked out because of gentrification in 2019 by
Wow.
billionaire real estate developers.
Okay, I'm gonna go back in time because yeah, I normally start in high school, but so you started when you were 3, but then you said you got like something happened at age 7. Did you take classes that whole time? And at 7, it's just you're more like, I guess, because yeah, that's like first grade. Yeah,
I
yeah.
only took
At
class
7,
from
is it
probably
more
like
like your choice or like it
7
just
was
got more
a
complicated and evolved?
7 we changed studios, and 7 became a more serious studio. And the owner of that studio had been on Broadway. She was really young. When I look back in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God, she was like 28. She was a baby too. But she was on a Broadway show. Her Broadway show closed, and she's like, I want to open a studio. And it was just a 1 room studio, but the training was like real training, real discipline, come on time, you know, do it was discipline. So that's why I'm saying 7 is probably was the pivotal point because that's when it was like, you really have to commit to this. And I wanted to quit like halfway through the year because the teacher made me cry. I remember it to this day. We were stretching in second in jazz class, and I'm the most unflexible person naturally you'll ever meet. And she was like, go lower. And I was like, I can't. And she was like, you're lazy. You don't even try. And she like lectured me about laziness. And I started crying. So I came back and I said, Mom, I want to quit dance. I hate it. I hate dance. I hate Miss Dana. And this is 30 years ago. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And my mom was like, what did you do? And I was like, I didn't do anything. And my mom was like, yeah, what did you do? And I was like, Miss Dana was mean. And my mom said, well, she said, what are you going to do on Saturdays at 1 o'clock instead? And I was like, watch TV. To which her response was, do you want to be homeless? Now, I don't know if she was threatening to kick me out of the house or if the thought was, if you don't complete a task, you will be homeless. However, she said, you will finish the year because you finish things you start, and then we'll reevaluate at the end. And then, of course, I became a star student, and it was amazing. And the funny thing is that Miss Dana from 30 years ago is our #1 volunteer and registrar at our tap festival in DC. I literally text messaged her. I was
Wow.
talking to her on Mother's Day because she wished me a happy Mother's Day. I don't have children, but she said, like me, you ladies don't have children yet, but we raise children. Because we do. Like, she helped raise me. 100%. She's, and I love that. I got a few Mother's Day messages from like parents of kids that my village children, because I take that very
I
seriously.
love that.
But yeah, so then I kept dancing, and my mom at the end of the year was like, now you're in the front row, you got a solo, you're singing a different tune. But I have to say, I'm thankful that my mom didn't just like take my side. I feel like that happens so much with parents these days. They just like listen to everything their kids say, like with no questioning of it. It's different if you're like, this person hurt me, or this person, you know, violated me or touched me or whatever. But it's like kids need to be disciplined. I was just disciplined. And yes, I was being lazy. So she just called me out, and I cried because I got called out. And I love it. I'm a better person because of it. And I call my students out just like she did to me.
And so, I mean, I'm sure you maybe don't remember, but like going back in 7 and being like, okay, I mean, we're just like, fine, I'll finish this year. Like, I'll get through it. But like, what approach did you then take? Like, do you know if you were like, I'm going to try to win her over, or just I'm going to keep my mouth shut, or like, or just like, well, I'm getting through
There were
this?
only 4 of us in the class.
Oh, so
So
lots of
I
attention.
came back like, I'm going to be amazing. That's how I came back. Like, I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to be lazy. And it worked. Because the thing is
Yeah.
that I was always like very social and stuff. So when it came down to like things that were hard for me, I was like, yeah, I would kind of like fall back from it. And like school was always very easy for me too. And so I would fell into lazy because, when things are easy, come easy for you, sometimes you can become lazy. And so my mom, she really scared me a lot when she asked me if I wanted to be homeless. And again, I don't know what threat that was, but she doesn't remember saying it. I remember it so vividly. I was sitting at a kitchen counter. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I was like, did she just threaten to kick me out? But it was like, you finish what you start, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That reminds me of your story. Like before I knew what the conclusion was going to be. And if you like went back when I was in high school, yeah, I had no interest in being in school. Like,
that's
and things
hilarious.
did come things came pretty easy to me. Like I wasn't the smartest, but I know that like I could study real fast before a test and get A or B, like, like a B. And I
Same.
was like fine with that. So like I didn't care about like being the smartest. I didn't want to flunk, but whatever. And there's certain classes, especially I was like, I don't like this at all. So I figured out my ways to like pass. I remember chemistry class, Mrs. Fry called me out. Mrs. Fry, like I didn't want like I was just like making do. And I don't know what she said, but she basically said something to the fact like, that did like it like made me, I think she saw that I had potential, but I was like
Uh,
just like skating by. So she said something to me that really got under my skin. And so then I was like, I'll show you, Mrs. Fry. Like, I
yes.
don't care about chemistry. And I just still did not go on to pursue chemistry, but I was like, I'll show you, and I'm going to get A's on everything.
But that's a good teacher. That's
And
a good
she's one of,
teacher.
she may be the only teacher's name from high school who I remember. Even I loved
That's
math.
so funny.
I can't name any of my math teachers. All I remember is Mrs. Fry
It's
challenging
crazy.
me.
So I have a I have a abnormally good memory. That's the first thing, particularly for names. And my mom was a school teacher, so I think I like made it a point to remember. I remember the funny thing is I remember the best teachers and the worst. The middle teachers, because you remember how people make you feel. So that teacher made you feel challenged and like really like pushed you. So of course you remember her. But I mean, teachers are just the greatest gift. I wish that they all made millions of dollars because they save lives every day, all day, 100 times a day, thanklessly. Like, it's crazy. So shout out to your teacher that pushed you because you might not be where you are right now.
No, seriously. And I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old right now. So we're like kindergarten and first grade and
So
like,
cute.
yeah, teachers, like I can't even wrap my head around what
I
they do. And so when you were talking about that too, getting Mother's Day text message as a like dance teacher, I was like, oh yeah, I get that. Like, yeah, even you might only, well, I don't know how involved your classes are, but even if you're dropping off a kid for a 45-minute class once a week, that it's like
oh no,
they are having a big impact.
our kids become family. I mean, I have kids asking me about hygiene, about sex, about everything. No, my kids
They
ask
likely
me.
feel safer asking you
Mm-hmm.
those questions than their parents, and they might even listen more to you than a school teacher or their parent. Like, I don't
No, they
like the different connection you
definitely.
have.
Yeah, because it's different and there's a different trust. Because also, like when you're a dance teacher, there's a level of vulnerability that if you're a good dance teacher, that you also aren't afraid to share with your students. Like, so sometimes I teach teachers, and I always tell them like, if something's hard for you, let your student, like, you can say it to your kids like, "Ooh, this one's hard for me, let's work on it together." Or like, I was like, kids need to also see your vulnerability because it makes them trust you more. So when you're asking them to do really hard things for them, they're going to be more willing to go for it. Like, nobody needs to be perfect. My kids see me struggle all the time. I'll be like, what did I do? I forgot. It's a running joke. Miss Maud always forgets. Yep, I have no idea what I just did. Show it to me again. Or I'll be like, ooh, my knee hurts today. Can one of you guys do the toe stand for me? Because my knee hurts. Vulnerability. They know I'm not perfect. I know they're not perfect, but we're all trying our best.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I wonder how it will, like, in even parenting in different ways, because I do the same sort of thing where it's like, oh, I know. Well, I'm get scared sometimes too, or like, whatever. It's like starting a new class, whatever. The nervous. I know, I understand that. You know what? I get nervous when I'm going somewhere and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, and so then I like teach them from my like whatever. And I didn't really think about it that way, but now when you're saying that, it's like, yeah, I wonder how differently that does affect how they're showing up in the world, rather than if I had taken the stance on like, well, you got like just like you got like you could still pump
Like,
them up
just
that way,
do
but
it.
me being like, I get it. I know, I
Mm-hmm.
still feel like that. And in some ways, they're like the last minute, like, but mom, you're an adult. You know everything. Like sometimes they'll get like upset with me when I'm like honest with them. Like, you know what? I don't know. Let's look into that.
Uh-huh. But that's important because then, because it's also important for them to know that because then when they become adults and they're lost, they're not like, damn, I'm a failure. My mom knew everything. You know? I still think about that now. I'm
Right. I
like, how does my
wonder.
mom know so much? I still feel like my mom low key knows everything. She's also
But yeah, that
like
is
a
true. Where it's like
genius.
I don't doubt, like, and also, yeah, you said she's been a teacher like this
No,
whole
she's
time. Right.
abnormally intelligent. She's 71 and she just left Uganda. She was in Uganda for 3 weeks doing French to English simultaneous interpreting for heads of states and presidents.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's bananas. I was just talking to Jason Mraz yesterday, where I was recording yesterday with him, and he
Oh,
was in
nice.
France doing press. And we were
Wow.
talking about how he shared a clip about he shared a clip, a reel, and I was asking about that. Like, so yeah, he's like on French radio, so not as serious as that, but still, like, this person is talking in French, and there was someone whispering in his ear in English at the same time. And he was like, we were talking about how insane that guy is able to translate while he's hearing things like at the
Yeah.
same time. And that's what, like, you're just like, I was just talking about this yesterday, and then you were saying your
That's
mom
really
was doing
funny.
it
And that it was
for
French.
like
Yeah.
top like yeah, like
Oh,
that, like
yeah.
your mom was doing it on a whole nother level for people.
Oh, no, she's done like
Wow.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
She's done Bill Clinton. Yeah, she's done. the top of the top.
Wow.
And she's older and she still's fast because sometimes she has to do medical stuff. That's the hardest one because it's like words we wouldn't even know in English. But she's from France. So yeah, that's what she used to be, a teacher, but then she retired, and then now that's what she does in her retirement.
Wow, that's amazing. But no, so getting back to, yeah, with like, am I like ruining my kids? But no, that is true because what if because I think so many times as adults, we grew up and then we act as if once we get to this age or this job or make this much money, then we're going to have it all figured out. I think that so often, but what if we as kids were like, wow, these people are still figuring it out too? Like that it's like,
We don't
that
know
they don't
shit.
have that. I wonder if that will affect them differently. Whereas, yeah, like I think adults, like I was born in, I'm like, what am I? 81, 1981.
Okay.
That it is like, then it is this sort of idea of, right. So then I, yeah, there's some level where we suddenly know it all. And then we start feel like this shame because we don't know it
Mm-hmm.
all and we're still figuring out, but that's being human. Oh,
Exactly. And I
oh, wait
think
a minute.
kids, I also think
Nobody has all the
kids,
answers.
they don't. And I also think kids respond better and want to do better when they actually know the truth. Like, think about it. Everybody loves, let's say, like Iron Man or Marvel, right? I'm a big Marvel fan as well. We love these superheroes because we watch them get over their adversity. Like Superman has kryptonite, Iron Man doesn't have a heart, all of these things. And it's like we know their weakness, and that's why we celebrate their triumph. Excuse me, so much more because, sorry, last week, girl, I had no voice at all because we know their vulnerability. And so I think as adults, it's not a problem to share vulnerability because there's still adult things that they don't know about that they shouldn't know about that you keep secret from them, of course. But like being like, I don't know, or like, oh, this is hard for me. It's good for them to know. And then they also encourage you. I had an 11-year-old encouraging me last week when I was doing my shots for my um egg freezing. And she's like, you can do it, Maud. You can do it. She was the one pep talking me through it. She's 11. Because I was like, I can't do this. It hurts.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Oh, that's true. My kids will like give, yeah, when I'll be like, oh, I'm nervous about something today. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it, mom, which
And then it
is really
empowers
sweet.
them as an
They,
important
right.
voice.
Yeah, they feel good being that person cheering on. All right, let's jump back into, so 7 years old. Then you end up being the star of the show. So then like, yeah, how does it like the dance life evolve from there? Because I took ballet, I think, when I was like 5. We have wonderful photos of me in a tutu from a performance, and that was it for me.
Uh-huh.
But I know, like, especially now, parent friends and their kids are like in these intense, traveling for dance performances and all sorts of things. Like, was your life dance from a very young age, or when did that start to escalate?
So dance was always a constant. I think kids now train more than I probably did growing up because I also did other
Okay.
things. I played basketball, I played outside. I was a brownie. My sister was a Girl Scout. I've had a job since I was 8 years old. I've
Since
contributed.
you're 8 years old.
I contributed rent since I was 8 years old. I swept hair at a barbershop. So my mom's a single mom. Uh, so I had all these other activities as
Wow.
well. But let me tell you, dance saved our lives, me and my sister and I, because it gave us like a safe space away from home, responsibility, accountability, and a family, and a second family. So the way ours worked was we had classes, but we never competed. Our teacher was very anti dance competition, but we performed everywhere. So we perform at like street festivals, uh, old folks' homes. We even used to perform. I don't know what the politically correct term is right now, but asylums for the criminally insane. And she would say, dance is for everybody, dance is healing, dance is for everybody. You will share this with everybody.
Wow.
And that directly influenced how I approach it as a professional. And, I have a foundation with my sister. Just all of the community work we do was instilled in us at a young age, and again, empowering us. At 9 years old, I was going into these like places that were essentially like prisons and performing for these people and seeing how they were affected by it. And also understanding like, just because you're here doesn't mean you're bad, or doesn't mean you're evil, or doesn't mean you're unredeemable. And so that's how ours went. And then my senior year of high school, I got a full scholarship to dance at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy in LA. And I moved to LA and lived with my godmom. And I graduated from high school in LA. And I danced at Debbie Allen's. And then I went to college in New York at Columbia University.
Wait, so
I think I kind of skipped
the
like
Debbie
8 years.
Allen, was that yeah.
Sorry.
I do love, I mean, again, I'm not like a dance like mom. I'm sure like that's it just seems like a lot to me too, like the traveling for the competitions and stuff, but like whatever. You know, no judgment of that cycle and stuff too, but like I do love that your teacher was not into that, like was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like here, yes, we're going to perform but not competing.
We also
But so the
were
Debbie, how
very
did
good. Sorry to interrupt. We were like the best tap dancers in DC. The other things we didn't compete, but we were the best. Like, but we had a performance company, so it was just the thing is that competition can be great.
mm,
I actually worked for one, but I what I love about the competition convention I work for is that there's no placings and there's no trophies or winnings. Everybody, you just get feedback. Like you get professional feedback.
oh,
Because at dance competitions, and most of them, everybody wins. And that's just not real in life. Like I believe in like a participation acknowledgement, maybe get like a shirt or something. But the reality is that in life, there's usually top three, just like the Olympics. And I find sometimes kids don't know how to lose. And learning how to lose is
mm-hmm.
becoming a good loser is important because the lose or the loss can help you. Like right before I got on this call, I found out that I didn't get a business grant that I applied for. And it did not affect my mood at all. And then I saw all the other women who got the grant and I said, good for them. And I really am like, good for them. This wasn't meant for me. On to the next. What's the next grant I can apply for? But had I been used to winning, I'd be like, I can't believe that I didn't win this grant. Oh, they're stupid for not picking me. Oh, maybe it's because my business isn't good enough. Maybe I'm not good enough. No. I'm like, okay, what's the next one? Because I learned how to lose again from playing sports. Because I did play basketball when I was younger. I was tall for my age when I was younger, so I would play basketball. But then at high school, I had to choose dance or basketball because also my mom was like, how the hell are you getting around everywhere? And it's too expensive. Like, you got to choose one. And I had a scholarship to dance, and I love dance. So, and then I went to performing arts high school, so free dance.
So the Debbie Allen, that was like, was that your whole high school experience?
No,
Or
so
did you
Debbie
start high school in
Allen.
DC and that like finished?
Yep, I started high school in DC, and I would go to Debbie Allen Dance Academy summer intensive, which still happens to this day, and it's amazing. And we would actually live with Debbie Allen over the summer, my sister and I. And then yeah,
What?
she is the greatest. And then um
Not like everybody. Was that just
no,
somehow like
that we were
you guys?
lucky and special.
Okay, I was about to say, I'm assuming that not everybody that goes to the
No, that
summer
was
thing is
an
living at their
anomaly.
house.
No, we had met her in DC doing shows. She used to be the artist in residence for the Kennedy Center. And we met her when we were younger doing shows we auditioned like 1,000 other kids. And she really just like saw a light in us. And we weren't the best dancers there by any means, but she saw something special in us. And full circle, because we met her in 1998. It's a long time. We're co-producing a tap dance festival called the Hollywood Tap Fest with her this summer in LA at her dance academy. Like, the beautiful thing about dance is that like you're like a lifer when you're in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we met her, I was 8 years old. I've lived with her, I've driven her cars, cried on her shoulder. She's been at my college graduation. Like, like you sell it's family. And it's this dance environment that fosters all this, which is amazing. Like the woman that you just met before we started the podcast, Faith. Faith was my sister's tap student at one of Debbie Allen's dance camps in Texas, where she's from when she was a child. We've been
Oh
friends for
my
20
goodness.
years. This marks 20 years we've been friends because of dance. And she's not even a
Wow.
professional dancer. She's a producer. But it's like the things
Wow.
you learn in these amazing dance programs, these dance classes, camaraderie, uh, finishing tasks, teamwork, pushing through things that are hard for you, just like life lessons and life values. Um, so it's very amazing. So yeah, so I did ninth, 10th, and 11th grade in DC, and then 12th in LA.
Got it. And what to so has tap been like your is that like the only dance that you did starting at what age? And like what is that again from that one teacher or like yeah, because also it seems like that's a bit more unique. We always hear more about ballet or I
Hmm.
guess modern and
And
hip
even hip
hop. I
hop.
don't know.
So tap has always been the thing, but we do everything. So I did ballet, I did hip hop, I did, the whole gamut, character dance, Dunham, everything, flamenco, African. But tap is what really spoke to myself and my sister. And that's really what we have forged ahead with as professionals. And even as students, I always excelled more in tap. I love tap. It's loud, it's free, it's improvisational. You don't have to be skinny. Um, it's a black art form, which a lot of people actually don't know. And like jazz,
I
it's
didn't
an
know that.
African American art form. Yep, its true roots are um, from enslaved people here in the United States. And so it's also like, especially as I get older, but even when I was in college, like just understanding the legacy of where tap dance comes from is so powerful that I love being a part of something that is has purpose and is meaningful. So yes, it is all tap, but we do everything else. But like I wouldn't go out on a hip hop audition for a job tomorrow. No, people call me too tap.
But even like going like through yeah, high school and stuff or when you were I guess applying to get into Debbie Allen, it's like it was like about tap for you or did
For
you
me,
have to
yes,
like
it was about tap,
like
and all the
do
teachers knew
different
that. Like I would be in advanced tap and like beginner ballet with all the littler kids, and I'd be like the biggest kid, and I didn't care. Again, ego. There can be none when you're trying to learn. You gotta choose the learning and let go of the ego. I'd be in class with like kids who were like 7 years younger than me, and all my friends would be in the advanced ballet, but then in the advanced tap, I'd be like the youngest. So
oh interesting.
yeah, so it was kind of like
And
get in where you fit in.
what was it like going to Debbie Allen's performing arts school in like in LA and like moving was that what you know
It's kind of
it feels
crazy
like
when I
that
think
could be a
about it.
big change.
It was, but it wasn't. I don't know. You know what? When your foundation is strong, you could be anywhere. And if you know who you are, I mean, of course, like I missed my mom and my friends at home, but I would go home for like, I went home for like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. But I also am a really good communicator and with phone, I mean, it's not the 18th century, so we can like be on the phone, but this is pre-texting and pre like FaceTime. I did have a two-way pager, but I don't know. I never felt like I wish I didn't do this. I was having the time of my life. And I lived with my godmom, Lizzie, and her daughter, who's my god sister, Samantha. And Samantha was 9 and I was 18. And we shared a bedroom, a tiny little bedroom. And I just, like, I only have great memories of that entire year. And I learned a lot. It's like, be independent. Like, now you're essentially grown. I mean, I wasn't like grown where I was like doing all the things I want to do by myself. I still, ask permission for things. But it was like, get yourself up, get yourself to school, like, do your own laundry, all that stuff. But I was, again, I've had a job since I was 8. So feeling very adultish didn't feel brand new to me. It felt natural. Like, I like responsibility.
But what about the other people at the school? Like, was everybody pretty like open, or was there any sort of like, yeah? Because Debbie is performing arts. Was it all different performing arts? Was it mostly dance?
It's
Too,
all
and like, yeah, like
dance.
got
It's
it. So it
all
was all
dance.
dance.
And
That
I
probably
went
makes
to
a
Santa Monica
difference.
High School. So I went to regular high school. And then you go to Debbie Allen Monday through
Oh,
Friday, 4 to 8, and then Saturday, 8 to 3. So then you like train and it's
got
all
it.
dance. Yep.
But you were like moved across the country and starting a new high school then. That is like, so
Uh-huh.
you did start a new high school
Yep,
and
started a new
then
high
sure you have your
school.
like new dance family, but that's a whole different experience
Well, the
too.
dance family was my same dance family because I had done the summer intensives. And at the high school I went to Samuel High, people weren't particularly friendly. I thought people were going to be all friendly. Like, you know, on TV, like the new girl comes and she's like the pretty new girl. Nope, nobody cared. And people weren't nice there. I think I made 4 friends at Santa Monica High School, but I had such a strong dance family that it didn't matter. And again, I was very confident. I knew I was really smart. I transferred into Samuel High in October of my senior year into all AP classes. Like your girl was killing it. And then I applied to Columbia Early Decision, got in December 1st, and you couldn't tell me anything. At lunchtime, I didn't even socialize. I went and applied for
Wow.
scholarships in the library.
So you were just like, okay, this is not what I expected, and I'm just gonna
No.
get through this. Like,
Yeah. And
but
there
I
were,
makeup if you didn't have dance, like
it would have been horrible.
that might have been
If I didn't have dance, that
harder
experience would
because
have been
that's like, great,
terrible.
right, I'm just here and I do my classes, and then there's this.
Yeah, because I mean, dance was like I was like, dance people are way cooler, anyways. I went from a school where there were about 10 white kids to a school where there were like 30 black kids. And I was the only black kid in most of my AP classes. And when I got into Columbia, I remember this white boy said to me, oh, affirmative action. He said that out loud to my face. And I said, yeah, your mom probably benefits more than I ever will. But again, I was empowered and intelligent, and he didn't shake my like, oh my God, did I only get it because I'm black? Like my mom is a white woman. Don't try to come for me, white boy. Please, half my family looks like you. I know it. I'm like, But again, if I didn't have my dance family and that foundation and that confidence, things like that can shape you. And then you go for the next 4 years in college, like, am I only here because I'm black? I'm not that smart, which is what he was trying to do. And I looked at
Yeah.
him like, boy, please, you wish.
No, totally. Totally. I mean, and it's still like that stuff can feel shitty, but at the same time, not take you down. Like that's what I say, and I write about it in this in my book that a judgment can only have power over you if you believe it to be true. So it can still suck that
Exactly.
somebody says that, but if you're like, yeah, no, that's not the fucking truth, like, so you can go fuck yourself.
Exactly. High schooler, senior boy, and who knows where that boy is? Probably somewhere still bitter and racist. I don't know. And it's like you just let people like that. You're like, okay. I'm like, you get hate on, and then you know what I started doing? I started wearing. So when you get in early, they used to send you this like lanyard for your keys. Oh, I started wearing that thing every day like a damn medallion. I was like, oh, I will get on your goddamn case. I will show this excellence.
That is a different level of confidence.
Uh huh. Yeah, I'm like, honey, I grew up poor in the murder capital of the nation. You can't, like, I ain't the one. I'm like, nope.
So now, obviously, you're a gifted dancer at these ages that you're getting you into these opportunities. And so I make up because that is your mom not worried about what's your future, because so many parents are like, that's
My
how you're going to pay your
mom,
bills for the rest of your life.
you mean like in high school or as an adult?
I mean, starting back then, even the fact of
Oh,
like as a senior, you're gonna take that, and then you do go to college, which we'll get to what you're like studying too. But like, yeah, like has she just like supported you the whole way, or
oh, the whole way.
is she at all like? And also,
Unwavering.
what else are you gonna do?
Oh no, unwavering support, encouragement. She's like, look, we've been poor. Like, you might as well be happy. My mom has always encouraged joy. Like we've been
I
poor.
love it. I love
Also,
it.
I know
Who
how to make
cares if
money.
like go do what you want, like, and
Also,
have if you love it.
yeah, I mean, I've known how to. When I was 8, I was making $200 a month, and let's think that's 1996 or seven. I was making two hundred
Was that from
dollars a month.
sweeping?
Yes, and I was a miser. I saved my money. My mom was never afraid that we wouldn't know how to like make money, But her big thing was like, okay, if you want to leave DC, like you have to get good grades so you can get academic scholarships. And Ivy Leagues have the best need-based scholarships. So we all went to Ivy. My brother went to UPenn, my sister went to Columbia, and I went to Columbia. My sister actually got into every single Ivy League and decided on Columbia. And this is from a one-bedroom,
Wow.
roach-infested apartment, and our mom slept on the couch, and our brother slept on the porch. It was like an enclosed porch, and my sister and I shared a room. It's our mom's
And that's how
will.
your entire like childhood was.
Yep. After my parents got divorced,
And
and
how
that
did
was.
she instill so like
She's a thug. She's the best. I was talking to her right before I got on this because she just got back from Uganda, and she's like, jet lag is killing me. But she just does it. Like she doesn't talk about it. She just is about it. Like we would always be like, "Don't talk about it, be about it." It's a very like black saying. My mom's white, by the way, from France, but she was the only white woman in our neighborhood, um, in the ghetto, in the hood, and everybody loved her. Everybody loved her because she treated everybody with kindness. She always was trying to help people, even though we didn't have any money. Our apartment was always the like, oh, I'm having a fight with my family, or I ran away from home. Our home was like the place everybody came because our mom was never judgmental and accepted everybody. And we came from and we still live like this. Like, and my brother, he would say like, if I'm eating and you're my friend and you're not eating, we're not really friends. Like if I cannot share with you, then what are we even doing? And we used to go out to eat one night a week on Mondays because it was all you can eat pizza at this place called Taliano's in DC. And we would go eat pizza once a week and we'd have these family meetings. I always tell people family meetings are the bomb. Like anybody's fighting or I got a C on a science paper. Oh, because our mom did demand excellence from us, but not in like you'll get whooped. But she would just be like, why are you shortchanging yourself? Like, what kind of life do you want? C's were not allowed. It was like, are you mediocre? Are you average? Are you excellent? C's are average. Like, and then because we're also dealing with racism that my mom is, experiencing through us, she would, they say like when you're a woman, you have to do things, 10 times better than a man. If you're a black woman, it has to be like 100 times better than a white man. My sister's English teacher in junior year told her, because Chloe said, I want to go to Columbia. She said, I want to apply to Columbia. And the teacher said, you'll never get in there. You should just aim for University of Maryland. And she told my mom, and my mom, psycho, in a good way. This is when bus stops had paper flyers still. Now everything's digital. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a Kaplan, which was like SAT scoring, SAT test prep thing. So my mom broke one of those, a bus stop thing. There was a Kaplan ad that said, "What if Harvard were your safety school?" She ripped the poster out, cut off the Kaplan, and literally taped on the door of our apartment for when we exited. What if Harvard, and it says safety in italics. What if Harvard were your safety school? And that's what we left out to every single day. And like I said, my sister got into every single Ivy League, was a Gates Millennium Scholar, turned down Harvard, and because she wanted to dance and went to Columbia for free.
Wow.
So like our mom doesn't play that.
Maybe I need to have your mom on the podcast. No,
oh, no, you should. She's also really interesting. She's like an OG, like manifester. Write it down.
But also like as a parent, then it is like how to instill that in your kids where you're not then, creating this like fear of perfectionism and stuff that too. Cause see, you know what I mean? Like how for like those to have the kids want that for themselves without sort of being like this. And if you don't, then you know what I mean? Like there's a line there where some people really suffer as adults from parents who were like, you must get these grades. So, I make up
we always had options.
I don't know. Did it a different way.
Gave us options. Like, oh, you can sleep with all those guys, but what do you want your reputation to be? The one thing she was very strict about, one, we were never allowed to lie, always tell the truth. And she always said you had to choose, show your legs or your cleavage. But if you do both, you look like a prostitute. I still apply that to myself today. Like I won't wear like a
But
super
she gave
short
you
dress
the
with like cleavage spilling out. I'm like, you got to show your legs or your chest. If you show both, you look like prostitute. And no shade to prostitutes. I'm not trying to, but you know, when we were kids, that was the best. And I was like, wow, she's right. Um, I don't know. Because I used to have a podcast called the Modcast, and I had my mom on there, and then she had all these requests to come back. So I had her on 2 or 3 episodes because all these people had all these questions.
I love it.
And then I'm still supposed to do an episode with her. I'm gonna bring the podcast back when I have some time about how to raise biracial or mixed kids without them being like lost and you know feeling half and all this stuff. People were like, "Can your mom?" Because she did it right. Because you guys have no like, who am I? What am I? Who am I? We never had that. We never questioned that. She's amazing. And
Wow.
she's really funny and she's
Yeah, I
really
do.
nice and she still looks really good. She still goes to the gym. She can bench press more than I can.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh. But she
Okay,
does not dance. Terrible
back to
dancer.
you.
Sorry.
I love it. All right. So then you got an early admissions to Columbia, and was
Mhm.
that then too? Like, yeah, was the they have a good dance program? I make up because you said your
No.
sister
No,
diverted from,
not at
or
all.
no.
No. Okay. So when you're thinking like
So
plan,
how did you end up there?
so we never thought plan B. It was always like, how does X, Y, and Z help our plan A? So like you go to Columbia. One, it'll be free because we're poor. So if they do merit, I mean, they do need based like Harvard. Like if your parents make less than like $100,000 a year or something, you go for free at all these Ivy Leagues. They have different price ranges, but it's
If
essentially
your grades, it's like
yes.
once if you meet
If
all
you
of these
get in,
things,
you have to
then
get in, and
yeah,
then once you're
yeah.
in, finances they help you. If you're poor, uh, what? Why did we go there? Oh, because one, we wanted to be in New York to dance, and two, it's like it's terrible to say, but I mean, we live in America and capitalism and elitism and blah, blah, blah. It's like, as a Black woman, people do look at me differently when I tell them I went to Columbia. And even when I was a student there, there's a different level of respect. There's a different level, there's a different approach. Um, because you do learn a lot of amazing things there. You also learn you also grow a network that you don't necessarily get everywhere because you have kids of CEOs and kids of senators and kids of A-list blah 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 um and you have kids from all over the world, international kids. So I would say we went there. Everything that I do in my business now, like so much of it I did learn in college, and not even necessarily in the classes. It's like time management, networking, communicating, um following through, balance, juggling 30,000 different things. Because at Columbia, they would be like, read these 11 books this week. It's like, that's absurd. I'm going to spark note half of these. That's what life is. Some of the things you're going to just have to do halfway to get by. Um, but that's why we went there, and I love it.
And that's
I
like why your sister chose that over Harvard too, was like also a lot of part of let me be in New York City so that I can be in
fully,
dance. So it wasn't like they have a great dance program, but let me
uh-uh,
be where there's great dance and also a great
exactly.
school that I got it.
Yeah. And Harvard, she was like, it's boring. I hate Boston. Ugh. Yeah.
Love it.
So, and of course, living in New York is amazing.
And what did you pursue there? And were you starting college like, I'm going to be a professional dancer and just let me get this college degree? Or was it like, yeah, what did you choose to study and what were the plans for being in
Um,
college?
I studied film studies like my sister did. Our plan was like we were gonna be Debbie Allen. That's basically what it is. Like we were gonna be Debbie Allen. She directs, dances, choreographs, produces, and she would always say, "Do it all. Why would you ever limit yourself? Do everything." And I was an intern, and then I became an assistant on music video productions. So when I was in college, I was working on music videos for like Lil Wayne, Chris Brown, Beyonce, Busta Rhymes, Mary J. Blige, like Missy Elliott. I was like the coolest kid ever. Because I would be PAing on these shoots and I would be learning because I was like, I want to be a music video director. And then my sister, when I graduated, we're like, she was like, we're going to put tap on film because we know how to do this because she had gone to film school too. And that's how Syncopated Ladies became popular. All that stuff we self produce, we self everything. Yeah.
Wow. And how, when you were getting into like intern and PA, how did that happen? Did that happen through a connection you had through
Uh huh.
Debbie Allen or something too? Or like, how did you even get into being in?
That happened through a woman who's actually really famous now, director and music video director. Her name is Melina. She and my sister were at school at the same time, but she was at NYU. And they were like film project friends. And Melina worked in music video land. And that is how I got looped into that world like 6 years later. So again,
Got it.
who
And so,
you know, relationships, and it was very easy for her to get me on my first job. She's like, oh, this is Maud. She's like my little sister. She goes to Columbia, so she'll get it done, and nobody's gonna be like,
yeah.
they just hear that and they're like, yeah, bring her in. And then I PA'd on, I don't know, 100 music videos in college. Like I became known, like people knew me, and I was a very good PA because I had no ego. I would pick up the trash, I would do whatever. um and I loved it and I learned so much.
Love that. Because, yeah, I mean, obviously everyone has to start somewhere, but at the same time, people are like, yeah, doing PA is often like, yeah, you're doing the shit work. Go get this,
Yeah.
go get the coffee, pick up the trash, this, but that's how you get your foot in the door.
And you have to understand that it's like, if you look at it like menial work, then you don't really understand the way films function. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I have to pick up this trash because the shot has to look clean. And if the shot doesn't look clean, then the thing is ruined. So it's like, actually, I'm very important. Like the PAs are the backbone of the
Yeah, like
shoot.
you're part of it. Totally.
So it's, I tell young
Um,
people now when they're going to PA, I'm like, yes, you are the lowest on the totem pole, but what you do is important, and do it with pride and enthusiasm because that's how you get promoted.
yep, yep. Well, that's how my first career was as a sound engineer for touring bands, but I like basically
Amazing.
like created my own internship at House of Blues Chicago because I wanted to do that. And it was like, yeah, and I worked for free for 3 months, just kept showing up.
Yep. That's the way to
And
do it.
eventually, like, that's where everything started. And like, yeah, they eventually were like, I guess we're gonna pay you to be a stagehand. Oh, I guess now we need a sound engineer because this person went on tour. Okay, now we need this. Like, yeah. But it was like, yeah, like when you're part of something, it's just, yeah, like, and I think even no matter how old you are, if you want to like, people want to like just start something new or try to get into something else, but then they're like afraid to like go down on the totem pole or like start
Mm-hmm.
lower again. Like I think that that happens as adults. It's like you might have like done this, but also like, yeah, but if you want to enter in a new area or something or a new arena, then like you gotta like be willing to
You
go
have to.
down
And
and
that
to then put
ego,
yourself in that space to be like, I want to be here. Like prove that you want to be there
exactly, because
to
that ego
yourself
does
and to
nothing.
others.
Exactly, because the ego truly does nothing. And so it just holds you back. I have no problem. I told my friend that you met earlier, I was like, I'll PA for you. She does high fashion. I never worked in high fashion. So I was like, oh, that sounds like I want to learn because I like learning. And I also like being around people. And I like to work. You know what I mean? Like it's enjoyable to me. You find the joy in it. So yeah.
Yeah. So what, okay, so you graduated, your sister graduated, and you ended up like creating your own production company. Like, yeah, now I'm like, we're like gonna jumping to like what has happened. I know you're involved with so many different things, and still tap is at the core of most of them,
Yeah. So we have our
or
production
dance.
company, Chloé Arnold Productions. And under that, we have Syncopated Ladies, which is our all female viral tap dancing band. We have over 100 million views online. We have a tour. What else? A clothing line. I'm trying to think. I'm like, oh my God, so
And
many
is the
things.
Syncopated Ladies, are you in it or you
Yeah, I'm in
lead
it.
it now?
Both.
You are in it. Okay.
Yeah, I was just on tour fact, I was just reconciling something from the tour recently, because we also produce it. And Chloe directed and choreographed the show, and I wrote it. What else do I do? And then we also have Chloé Arnold
Wow.
Foundation, which is a 501c3. Under that, we have the DC Tap Fest, and which is the largest tap dance festival in the world in DC. And then we're going to be partnering with Debbie Allen with the Hollywood Tap Fest with our foundation. We also have after school programs in underserved schools in LA and in Brazil, in 3 favelas there. And we also have girls empowerment dance camps.
Wow. Okay, so that's a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, and yeah, and I am so excited. We are about to release a guided journal for dancers, a first of its kind. I
Oh,
literally just got, I can show it to you. It just got to my grandmother's house today because I thought I was going to be in DC, but then I'm not because the egg freezing. And that's the cover. And it just arrived at my grandma's. That's the sample.
more than moves.
Yeah, it's called More Than Moves with Chloe and Maud. And I am beyond excited. And it comes with pens and stickers. And yeah, it's, it's all about
Wow,
joy.
what inspired you guys to create that?
We've been wanting to do it for years. And you just, I just listed to you. I didn't even list everything that we do because I'm sure I'm forgetting things because I'm in the middle of producing 2 dance festivals right now. And I'm freezing my eggs, so I'm fatigued, I would say, and I was sick last week. But we always wanted to do it because in all of our dance programming, a lot of it is like mindfulness and intentions and like self-esteem and sisterhood and brotherhood building. And kids always ask us essentially the same questions. Everybody has the same questions. And I was like, you know what, Chloe, we should put this in a one-stop shop to launch. And so it's a 12-week journey, and every week has a different theme. So the themes can range from mentorship to friends to dance. And in each week, there's a little QR code at the beginning of each week, and that QR code takes you to a video of Chloe and I explaining like what is gratitude. There's a whole week about joy. It's called Modify, and it's like we explain which each week means, and then there's a social media activity for every week and a song of the week. So they have to dance or they have to celebrate their mentor on their Instagram or their TikTok, and it's also to help kids, excuse me, empower themselves with their phone and their social media as opposed to just taking selfies and bathroom selfies and scrolling aimlessly and not learning or growing.
Wow, that I mean, I've created things, so I know how much
I love
intention
all
it
of the
takes to
things
these
you
things.
create.
But what you've done even more levels, like, oh, and there's a QR code to a video, and then there's a social media like activation, like how much thought you must have put in to all of these things and pulling it all together to make it happen.
I mean, it
But
took
that's so cool.
forever. Know that your website has always inspired me. I'm like, I need
Oh,
to sit down and like finish these things. Like I love your cards. I love your keychains. I have your mug. I have so many things because people are like, what do you want? I'd be like, oh, go to this website and get me something from here. And I would always buy people gifts from it
aw.
because it's just so spot on and it's so good. And joy is how I measure my success and, is the barometer for my success. Money is obviously great. We all love money. Money is awesome. But money with no joy is the worst, you
And
know?
a lot of people don't have money, obviously, but a lot of people do have money and they spend their whole lives trying to get titles and monies and accomplishments and
Mm-hmm.
or, accolades, all the things, and then they're still not happy. And that is what pisses me off the most. But I get it. It's not their fault. That's why, again, like, that's why do the work that I do to
Which
like
I
shake people
love.
up. Like, so I'm so happy. I mean, and even yeah, like, going back to what your mom said about yeah, pursuing dance and like if
Yeah.
it were to
It's
like
like,
be successful. But yeah, how do you guys, because that is like all of these things that you're creating and putting out in the world, even as you brought up the not getting the grant or whatever, right? So there is, I'm sure, a lot of things that don't work out. And
Oh,
just even, yeah,
so
putting
many.
together a festival, all the ideas that you're having and creating and the foundations and, or in like, okay, a program for people can't afford the classes, like you're offering so many things and like, yeah, how do you keep going when I'm sure it's not fucking easy at all to do those things,
Oh,
especially
yes.
things that are not like, let me make a lot of money for you, but like, let me do good.
I would say
Unfortunately, doesn't always win.
it doesn't. And I would say gratitude. Like you ground yourself in gratitude. For example, I got denied or I didn't get this grant today. I got denied from like 10 grants this last month and a fellowship I applied to. I got said no for the third time I applied to this fellowship. And it's like gratitude and also knowing that you are where you're supposed to be and allowing the failures to fuel you. My sister and I always say, we say magnify the positive because there's always going to be negative. And so it's like, you got to magnify the positive. I mean, even for our dance festival, we lost $50,000 in funding. Excuse me. And that had nothing to do with us. It was just like a restructuring of something or other. You know how things go. And I'm like, ugh. But am I saying no to kids' scholarships? No. Am I still doing? I'm like, look, I'm putting it on an Amex Platinum, and I'm like, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this shit out at the end. Like that's where I'm at. I mean, literally today I'm booking flights, and I'm like, well, it's going on the Platinum. It's no limit. So we just go. What am I going to do? Stop doing what I do because I lost $50,000, which is a lot of money. But I also believe in abundance, and $50,000 isn't that much money. It's not an amount of money that I can't figure out where to get funding from before the end of the 2023. So I think it's like thinking in solutions, not problems, and magnifying the positive and also being around people who will encourage you and who aren't gonna be like, oh my God, you lost that money. What are you gonna do? It's gonna be terrible now. Or it's just like, okay, you lost that money. What's the plan? Do you have to downsize or can you get the money elsewhere? Can you take a loan or can like bring me solutions? Don't bring me problems and like Debbie Downer and all of that. So really it's a lot of who you hang around because people often ask my sister like and I like, what are your obstacles? And we always are like, hold on, we have to think about it because we're so quick to jump over it. And that's not to say like it's important to acknowledge your feelings and all of these things, but like me getting turned down from a grant, I know has nothing to do with me. 10,000 people applied. They picked 20. Hey, maybe they, for all I know, they could have been like, we're tired of reading these grants. Let's just pick the names out of the hat and make sure that that their businesses are not suspended. Like, and you just you keep it
No, it's
pushing
true.
and you have no ego and
I,
also gratitude. And I'm all around children all the time. And kids give you perspective because all they want is some ice cream at the end of the day. They want a hug and some ice cream. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm making all these problems. And if you're healthy, you really have nothing to be complaining about. Because health, I've had friends, who have become paralyzed. I have friends who've gotten cancer, about, all types of things. And I'm like, if you have your health, you have everything you need at that point, you know? And it's like, okay, I lost this money, but I have my eyes, I have my fingers, I have my hands, I can do all of the things to try to get that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
yeah, I love that. Have you had, since you brought up the like not having people around you that are gonna, I forget what you're saying, but like not that like yeah, that instead of like seeing the solutions, but that have you had to like learn to like shift your relationship with people or like be aware of like, wait a minute, this is like
Absolutely. I think it's, what do they say? Like cut, paste, edit or something, cut, edit, paste or edit, cut, paste, something. And it's not like, oh, that person is a bad person. I also have had to recognize it myself. I work at the capacity of probably 10 normal people. I'm abnormally energetic. I'm abnormally ambitious. I have my my sister too. We can work long hours, long nights, and be fine. Like I took 29 injections over the last 10 days. I didn't get moody. I didn't quit what I was doing. I did take more naps. I slept a lot. Things definitely fell by the wayside. But again, that's okay. Like it is what it is. But I have had to give other people grace. Like, they don't work at my level. So I'm not going to expect them to work at my level. When I realized that, it saved me a lot of heartache because it's like, I just won't have those expectations. It's like, I can't expect me from you because you're not me and you're not working at that level. Now, I do have friends who do work at this level, like the woman you just met. And that's why I'm at her house because we were doing work earlier. And it's not like I can't be your friend anymore, but it's just like, you gotta limit the interactions or limit the way you spend time with them. Like, okay, we just go have fun. But I'm at a place in my life right now where I want to have fun and be productive and also elevate the conversation. Like, I hate reality TV. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to even hear it in the background. Like, so it's like if I have a friend who loves reality TV and they're watching at their house, I'm not going to go there because I know that that's not a healthy environment for my mental health. So it's not like I hate this person. You're not losing a friend. You're just reframing it and adjusting it. So yes, I've had to do that a lot because the thing is when you're really productive and like really ambitious, if you're around people who aren't like that, they can start to resent you. And it's better to just separate yourself than because you kind of start to resent each other. Because on my end, I'm like, you're lazy, you're not productive. And on their end, they're like, oh my God, all you do is work and all you do is care about work. So it's like best to just be around the people who, you go do you, I'm gonna go do me. And no harm, no foul. Everybody should be finding their joy or their purpose the way that they want to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that's one of the most valuable things that we can do is pay attention to who we're spending our time with and how it influences us. And that too, it's like, yeah, we're all different. So it's not like we're judging the people or they're wrong or they're right. It's like finding the place for them in your life at right now. And it might vary later too. But yeah, I mean, and also I've had experiences my whole life with I will be like, yeah, I'm going to go do this. And it doesn't make any sense. And I don't really have any, background for how that can happen or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, well, why can't I make it happen? And like that, most people don't think like that. And so, like, it's not fun. It is not fun to want to be excited about something, to believe in yourself, to believe in possibilities when you're surrounded by people that are just going to tell you that's not going to work out. Choose the safe route. What do you think you're doing? Whatever. Because that's what the world has influenced them to do. And that sucks. Like, it sucks.
Totally
And so,
sucks.
like, learning to, like, okay, separate, take space. And that doesn't mean like you cut yourself off from them totally. And also, again, it's like, that's not about me. That's them, that they can't even see. They can't see those possibilities for themselves. They can't see it for you. That many people are trained to believe, like, make safe choices. That's what, like this, but nothing's a safe choice anyway. Nothing's a safe
Nothing.
choice because we don't know what's going to happen, especially if it's
Nothing.
stealing your joy and your livelihood. It's not safe.
It's not. It's the most dangerous.
But it's like I can see, like, though they're coming from love in some messed up way by trying to talk me out of this or putting their fears on me. And also, I don't have to make myself available for that. Okay.
Not at all. Do not disturb.
So, yeah. So I think that's like one of the most valuable things that we can do for ourselves is pay attention to who we're giving our energy to and our attention and who we're asking for advice and who we're listening to and all of that.
It's so true.
Okay, I feel like I could talk to you forever, but I'm like wrap up to get to the questions I ask everybody. I'll have to come back and bring your mom on.
Yeah, she would love that.
All right. What is a go-to? You can name more than one to raise your joy levels. Like if you're feeling bummed or something.
Exercise, dance, and calling a friend.
Love it. I ask everybody to apply this phrase to their own life. So what is easiest for you is not always what is best for you. What is easiest for me is blank. What is best for me is blank. Like maybe a natural way of being.
What is easiest for me is procrastinating. What is best for me would be to
Sounds like you get a lot of shit done though.
Get my butt down and complete a task.
I love it though, because I'm like, it sounds like you do a lot, but I'm the same way. Like I do a lot as well, but I'm a great procrastinator also.
Oh my God. I'm like, God, give me a deadline, please. These grants, I'll know about them for 3 weeks and I'm like the night before.
I have learned to just also accept that about myself. Like, yeah, I get shit done. It might just be like at the last minute. It's like, oh, you're about to be interviewed for something or whatever. I could have prepared for weeks. No, let me do it an hour
Oh,
before the call.
100%.
Like, that's just how I am. Like, going back to high school, it's just like owning that part of myself. And also, I learned a term productivity, which I love too, where it's like, I know I'm going to do this thing. I'm committed to it. And yeah, right now I'm choosing this. And right now I'm doing this. And like, so it's sort of like, seeing that what you're doing is productive because usually it will be like when I am not doing those, like, then it's like, oh, I have the idea or I have the breakthrough, or like now I'm ready. It's
Hmm.
like I'm committed to the thing happening. And it's like, so that has helped
Exactly.
mine. It's just like, I don't have to see procrastination always as a bad thing. Like, I do have to get in modes of like, come on, this is time now. But like, all right, that's, yeah, part of who I am. And
Yeah, I've had to
I
like
still get shit
embrace
done.
it, but I'm like, God, you know what I'm gonna try to do once the egg freezing is done? Because my sleep is so weird right now. Is I'm gonna try to organize my day in like hour blocks and see how that goes for a week and see if I'm productive. So I'm gonna see. I'll let you know how
Yeah.
it goes.
I hear other people do that, and that sounds miserable to me.
I know, me too, but I'm like, so I have some very specific things like I wrote a children's book and I just need to edit it. And it's been sitting there to be edited for over a year. The illustrations are basically done. Like I just need to edit some
Wow.
things. And I've had the hardest like because I care about it so much and I just feel so distracted and pulled on it. Like it has to really be like the best. So I really have to focus. So that's why I have like very specific things I want to finish. So I'm gonna try this block thing. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. I Yeah, no, I get that. And for me, one of my main mantras is any minutes is more than no minutes. Any progress is more than no
Mm,
progress. Baby steps are steps. And I
love
apply this
that.
like the easiest things for me to put off are the things I most want to do that feel the most important that I care
Yes.
about. Oh, I didn't get around to it today, so I'll start it tomorrow. Oh, I only have whatever. And I've now like don't let myself do that. It's like, oh, I got to leave in 10 minutes to pick up my kids. So whoops, I don't have the time. And I'm like, you have 10 minutes.
That's
You
so
have 10
true.
minutes. And so I will open the document or whatever I'm working on, and it's like, oh, look at that. I got things done in 10 minutes. Like, it's like, obviously, it's a long process, but it's
Right.
like, so take the any minutes. Because
I'm
sometimes even
taking
for me, an
that.
hour, like, I'm just going to work for this an hour. Then I'll like talk myself out of it. Oh, that's too long, or I'll do it later. So it's like any minutes and like jump in. And then it's like, oh,
Oh, I'm
wow,
definitely
I
taking that.
actually got things done even in 10 minutes.
Thank you. I love that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's like I apply that to almost everything in my life. Is any minutes
I
is more
love
than no
that.
minutes. Um, all right. The last question is the name of the podcast is Claim It. What are you claiming for yourself right now?
For myself right now, I am claiming generational wealth. And that is
All
financial,
right.
spiritual, and emotional. All the good things.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. I've
Thank
loved talking
you.
to
This
you,
was so
and
fun.
I'm so excited about all the things you're already doing and creating in the world. Like, what an inspiration.